This page is the cover, obviously. You've got the big N64 Pro logo shouting about being the official, world's biggest N64 mag. Right there in the middle is a cracking shot of Donkey Kong looking ready to rumble. Fitting, since the main feature is a complete guide for Donkey Kong 64. Below him you've got that little scamp Cartman from South Park promoting South Park Rally, with talk of winning games and posters. Oh joy. And check out that list of games they've played to death. Marna Sarge's Heroes, Monster Truck Madness, Earthworm Jim 3D, Supercross 2000, NBA Jam 2000, and Winback. A mixed bag, if you ask me, but Earthworm Jim 3D sounds intriguing, despite the screenshots looking gent. Well, like Earthworm Jim in 3D, there's also the usual stuff, a free mini-mag and a bonkers competition to win Xena goodies. Classic late 90s N64 mag fodder, this. This page is a rather cheerful advert for Resident Evil 2 coming out on N64 today, using a bright sunny image and adapting a classic tune about the sun. This page is all about getting those sweet cheats. Front and center is the Cheats Unlimited service, promising tips and tricks for over 2,000 games, featuring the rather cool Cheat Master and Cheat Mistress characters. There's a sample list covering a huge range of games from 1080 snowboarding to Zelda. Basically, if you played it back then, chances are they had a cheat for it. We also get to meet the team, showing the faces, or caricatures, behind the magazine, all looking forward to specific games like Perfect Dark, Ogre Battle 64, and even Paperboy. Someone needs a post-Christmas workout, eh? And speaking of returns, who's that crooning legend promoting the mag? It's the king himself, back to talk about N64 Pro's features, including a big Donkey Kong guide. Down below are the 8 commandments of N64 Pro. Basically their promises to readers about honest reviews, staying current, finding every possible cheat, even if it kills them. Expert writers, great coverage, reader interaction, and featuring the cheats and guides you want. It looks like a solid commitment to delivering the goods. You could get these cheats via phone, or even a faxback service. Remember those? Covering PSX, DC, N64, PC and GBC, they had you covered across the board, though you had to watch the clock as calls cost money. This page welcomes us to the January 2000 Millennium Special issue of the N64 Pro, proudly proclaiming itself the world's biggest N64 mag. It's absolutely rammed with content, isn't it? You've got the big review section covering the initial games of the new year, featuring the likes of South Park Rally, Winback, Army Men, and even Earthworm Jim 3D making a comeback. Down in the blueprint section, they're giving us a peek at upcoming games like Castlevania, Legacy of Darkness, and the rather intriguing Eternal Dark. And flipping heck, look at that massive giveaway, minus £1,000 worth of Xena goodies up for grabs. Plus, there's a cracking free pull-out Donkey Kong minimag, promising a full solution to Donkey Kong 64, which should sort out finding those pesky golden bananas. They're pushing the Pro Zone too, which sounds like the place to be for tips, codes and cheats, always vital, the swap shop for trading bits, and the Pro Arena to see who's the top dog. There's even a dedicated section for the Game Boy faithful called Game Boy Nation. And who's that snarling face? None other than Cartman plugging the South Park Rally Racer. Looks like it could be a frantic bit of fun. All the essential sections are here. News, release schedule, scoops gallery, and the main reviews. A proper packed start to the year, this. The US release of Castlevania, Legacy of Darkness, featuring new characters and tweaked puzzles, is covered. Kirby is also coming to the N64, promising a classic platforming experience. Sadly, the 64DD, a disk drive for the N64, launched only in Japan. The page also includes UK and Game Boy Color charts, along with the N64 Pro's Most Wanted list, topped by Perfect Dark, and a prediction competition. This page has a bit of everything, doesn't it? Kicking off with a look at Eternal Darkness, which sounds like a proper spooky affair. Medieval knights fighting off terrifying undead creatures, a bit like Resident Evil by the sound of it. Nintendo are being tight-lipped, apparently, but it looks promising with puzzles and 3D graphics. Guy Recaurus. Then we've got the footy action with ISS Millennium. Konami bringing another one out, they say it's tweaked up, and one of the best. Watch out for the Argentinian lads, they're apparently set to dominate the world, which is a bold claim. Down the bottom there's a competition for South Park Rally, Acclaim giving away copies of the game, which sounds like Chow Titic fun with Mr. Hanky and the Underpants gnomes involved. All you have to do is answer a ridiculously simple question about the famous Christmas poo, and send in your details for a chance to win. Standard competition rules apply, of course. Finally, we've got Your Planet Needs You with our Marines. Project SW.ARM. Looks like a sci-fi shooter pitting you against some nasty insectoid aliens. They were recruiting just before Christmas '99 for this one, coming to N64 and Game Boy Color. Looks like a bit of bug splatting action could be on the cards. This page is a bit of a mixed bag, isn't it? On the left, there's a frankly massive competition to win a grand's worth of Xena Warrior Princess goodies. They've teamed up with Titus for this one, offering up some seriously rare merchandise apparently, including stuff you couldn't even get in the UK. There are photos of the swag, caps, jackets, shirts, even a director's chair. To enter, you just have to answer a question about Xena's full title. Pretty straightforward stuff, thankfully. Fill in your details and pop it in the post. 20 runners-up even get a video. Then, on the right side, we've got Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. This is the one that practically invented the tactical shooter genre, putting you in charge of an elite squad tackling global terrorism. The text really pushes the realism and intensity, promising a gaming experience so immersive you'll be shouting, "Tango down," in your sleep. Looking at the screenshots, you can see the mix of tense first-person action and that classic tactical planning view. Proper serious stuff, this, not your usual run and gun. It looks like it was heading for N64 amongst others. Alright then, let's have a gander at this page. Darkstalkers. This page gives us a proper peek at the gaming calendar with the big release schedule dominating the left side. It lists loads of upcoming N64 titles, broken down month by month, showing developers and where they're coming out, though plenty are still marked as TBC form, which, let's be honest, usually means when it's ready, mate. The bloke up top reckons the new millennium hasn't changed anything, and there are still plenty of games coming our way. Below that, we've got the must-buys, highlighting Resident Evil 2, a cracking gore-fest apparently. Bring on the zombies. Mornington Sow and South Park Rally for some comical capers with the South Park crew. There are screenshots to show off the action. Then there's a look into the future with forthcoming attractions, featuring Toy Story 2, Castlevania, Legacy of Darkness promising the return of the Belmonts, and Top Gear Rally 2, looking better than ever. More screenshots to whet the appetite. The bottom left mentions StarCraft is bubbling under, delayed until May but expected to be a stonker. The entire right side is a massive sales catalogue, from gameplay.com, listing consoles, new games, used games, controllers, memory cards, and loads of other accessories you can order via post or phone. This page is a bit of a cartoon caper. We're diving into the madcap world of Looney Tunes games, featuring everyone's favourite whirling dervish Taz and the ever-heroic, Duck Dodgers. First up, we've got Taz in Taz Express for the N64. Looks like Taz has been given a job delivering parcels, which naturally involves him smashing everything to smithereens with his famous spin. The game's an action puzzle apparently, with mini-games and puzzles thrown in as you travel the country. You'll be visiting places like the Tasmanian bushland and the Wild West, bumping into classic characters like Yosemite Sam and Wile E. Coyote. There's even some investigative reporting going on from Freel Seal, who seems to have hitched a ride. Then over on the right, it's Duck Dodgers, or Martian Alert as the Game Boy Color version is called. Daffy Duck is somehow tasked with saving the world from Marvin the Martian, collecting atoms to stop him powering some weapon. It sounds absolutely massive with loads of levels and mini-games. The N64 version is due out around June 2000, while the GBC one features adventure elements and collecting bits like in Pokemon, where Bugs Bunny has to find loads of parts. The Freel Seal is back here too, keeping an eye on things. This page plunges us into Scoop's gallery of games, where our artistic canine pal reckons the N64 is home to the real masterpieces, putting Monet and Van Gogh to shame. He dares us to keep our jaws on the floor and eyes in their sockets as we gaze upon this collection. First in the gallery is WMC, a war game that promises more weapons than you can shake a stick at, featuring futuristic vehicles clashing in a desert landscape. Looks like a proper blast. Next, the little pink puffball, Kirby, is making a return. The magazine cheekily suggests he looks a bit camper, but assures us he can and will kick ass, showing him bouncing around various colourful environments. Then there's the elusive Earthbound 64. Still taking its sweet time apparently, but the text says if it's half as good as the SNES version, the wait will be absolutely worth it. The screenshots definitely show off its unique, quirky style. The bear and bird are back in Banjo-Tooie. The shots here look fantastic, even teasing a Trex Banjo and Pterodactyl Kazooie. Ace, indeed! Dolacover. Finally, bringing some strategy action to the N64 is StarCraft. They reckon Command & Conquer fans will be impressed by this sci-fi strategy game, even highlighting the fact it's got a two-player mode. Seems like a solid lineup of upcoming titles. This page dives headfirst into the software house leagues, a cracking concept where games are the players and publishers are the teams slugging it out for top honors. It's all about tracking who's putting out the best stuff on the N64. Our man Neres has even picked his personal dream team, lining up absolute legends like Worms Armageddon, Ready to Rumble, Turok Rage Wars, and the mighty Donkey Kong 64 in his squad. Looks like a solid attacking lineup that. They've got a whole system for scoring games, with Merlin dishing out points from 3 for a top-notch title, all the way down to a frankly deserved 2 for a complete stinker. Apparently a good 65% of games are hitting the mark, which isn't bad going. Yanks. Over in the Premier League, Nintendo are firmly at the top, sitting pretty with a tidy 60 points, well clear of the chasing pack. Down in Division 1, Hasbro and Virgin are duking it out at the summit. They even have a Hall of Fame for standout performances, with Resident Evil 64 and WWF 2000 getting a shout-out for their efforts. It's a proper league system for your favorite games. Please provide the text you would like me to summarize. And North Cheshire, blah. This page is absolutely stacked with previews for some massive N64 games. First up is StarCraft 64, which is bringing the legendary PC real-time strategy game to the console, promising epic battles and deep strategy with different races and modes. Then we see Ridge Racer is finally coming to the N64, packed with features from the series, and a new 4-player mode which should make it a riot to play with mates. Rare are back with Banjo-Tooie, the highly anticipated sequel to Banjo-Kazooie, showing off new worlds, characters, and gameplay features like multiplayer and widescreen support. Looks like they're pushing the N64 hard with this one. And speaking of highly anticipated sequels, we get a look at Zelda, Gaiden. The story sounds completely wild, involving parallel dimensions, Link using masks for powers, and trying to stop the flipping moon. It definitely seems like a different kind of adventure, requiring the expansion pack. To top it off, Rare are running a competition to guess their next secret project game, offering a free copy to the winner. Lots to look forward to here. This N64 magazine cover features iconic characters like Donkey Kong, Pikachu, and Eric Cartman, promoting 132 pages of content. It includes cheat codes, reviews of Earthworm, Gym 3D and South Park Rally, and quick reviews of other titles, e.g., Winback, Stealthy, Army Men Plasticity. A scoring system, including a sore thumb award, is detailed. Finally, an order form for issue number 15 is included. The magazine caters to N64 enthusiasts, with a comprehensive look at the console's games. This page dives straight into the review of South Park Rally, something the previous page teased. Front and center is a massive, somewhat unsettling image of Cartman looking rather pleased with himself in some cool goggles. The main text highlights that after much anticipation, the game is finally out, promising another dose of those delightful South Park kids. It confirms it's a racing game, and while the graphics might not be the star attraction, apparently the sheer weirdness, crazy tracks and challenging elements make up for it. You start with the usual suspects, but there are plenty of other South Park residents to unlock, including Kyle's grumpy grandpa, Twitchy Tweak, and even divine and demonic racers like Jesus, the Devil, and Damien. There are sections detailing the pickup prizes, which include various boosters and weapons. Expect typical South Park absurdity, like Cartman cop spreading diseases, or the alien anal probe laser doing some serious damage. And don't forget the badass, showing off some of the unfortunate events that can befall racers, like death getting slowed down, or Mr. McKay getting stuck in a tornado. There's also a crazy madness section showcasing winning, and some random events like Mr. Garrison and his puppet appearing. Looks like a chaotic but potentially fun ride for South Park fans. This page carries on with the South Park Rally review we started on the last one. Looks like it's just as bonkers as you'd expect. We're getting into the nitty-gritty now, talking about the different game modes beyond just bog-standard races. There's even a treasure hunt for underpants naturally. The tracks sound like pure South Park madness, from Big Gay Al's rather colourful house to a volcano. And there's even a race where you're trying to find a cure for Cartman's illness in cow days. The obstacles aren't just static bits of the track either. You'll be dodging everything from school buses to snowplows. Power-ups are equally ridiculous, like Cartman getting a speed boost from too many baked beans, or some rather questionable items from a dirty hoe. Apparently the handling varies wildly depending on who you're playing as. Tweak, bless him, is twitchy as you'd imagine. They show off some of the character unlocks, confirming there are loads, 29, beyond the main lads, like Jesus and the devil popping up on the track. Overall, the feeling is that while maybe not a technical masterpiece, the sheer volume of weirdness, the track designs, and the South Park humor make it a cracking laugh, earning a solid 89%. It's not Mario Kart, they admit, but it's a damn sight funnier, according to one bloke. Looks like a proper Chow Tech bash for fans. A new review of the tactical shooter Winback praises its premise and key features like tactical moves and stealth. The reviewer, New Reviewees, notes Jean-Luc's unusual movement but finds the gameplay engaging, especially the use of shotguns and machine guns. Stealth is emphasized, along with the game's diverse weaponry. Graphics, sound, and gameplay receive high marks, resulting in an 82% overall score. Comparisons are made to GoldenEye, and the review concludes that Winback offers a solid stealthy shooting experience, albeit with some room for improvement in Jean-Luc's movement. A review of Army Men, Sarge's Heroes praises its unique premise, good graphics, and fun multiplayer. Neries gives it an 80%, noting it lacks the depth of Turok or GoldenEye, but has quirky ideas. Other reviewers also comment, with some wanting more action and others finding it lacking compared to GoldenEye and Rainbow Six. A pull-out guide for Donkey Kong 64 details the gameplay, including character abilities, weapons, and controller commands for movement and actions. The guide covers the main Kongs and their banana gathering missions. This Donkey Kong 64 guide focuses on the early game, starting with Cranky's training level, a tutorial for basic gameplay mechanics like swimming, swinging, and throwing bombs. Level 1, Jungle Japes, introduces the core gameplay loop of collecting golden bananas and rescuing Kongs, Diddy, Tiny, Lanky, Chunky. Each rescue requires specific tasks, like shooting targets, or solving puzzles. The guide details defeating Armadillo, the first boss, using TNT, and unlocking further access to K.Lumsy. It also highlights the importance of collecting blueprints, dropped by colored brutes for more golden bananas, crucial for achieving a 100% completion. This page dives straight into the Donkey Kong 64 chows, picking up right where we left off. It covers Level 2, Angry Aztec, and Level 3, Frantic Factory, detailing how to snatch up those precious golden bananas for each Kong. In Angry Aztec, you'll be swinging vines with Donkey, playing Guitar Gazump to find gongs with Diddy, shrinking down with Tiny to swim through tricky passages, solving puzzles with Lanky, and even taking down a brute with Chunky. There's also a handy tip XTRA, pointing you towards Funky's store for new weapons, always good to know where to upgrade your firepower. Then it's on to the Frantic Factory, a rather aptly named place, wouldn't you say? Here, Donkey needs to get busy in the storage room, and the original Donkey Kong arcade game. Diddy's got the testing department and production line to contend with. Tiny gets to shrink again, and navigate ventilation shafts. Lanky's using his stretching powers, and dealing with testing puzzles. And Chunky, bless him, is getting involved in the production room and storage. It's all about completing minigames, activating switches, and finding blueprints. The page also gives the lowdown on how to beat the bosses encountered in these areas. The fiery dragonfly and the the croc in the box. Proper names, aren't they? Beating these baddies gets you keys for K.Lumsy, moving you ever closer to freeing that poor giant. It's a solid guide to navigating these tricky early levels. The Donkey Kong 64 cheat guide continues with Level 4, Gloomy Galleon. Players must find an underwater gate near Banana Fairies Island, requiring 30 golden bananas. Inside, Diddy and Donkey Kong activate areas via switches. Specific challenges for each Kong are detailed. Donkey with switches and a blast challenge. Diddy with jetpacking, a race, and Guitar Gazump. Tiny with shrinking, swimming, and saxophone puzzles. Lanky with stretching, trombone and search/battle challenges. And Chunky with smashing barrels and primate punch, potentially involving battle barrel bandits. A tip advises visiting Candy's music shop to learn instruments for puzzles. A section on defeating a pufferfish involves a 250 banana barrel ride, battling fireballs, and water ripples. A South Park rally image featuring Cartman in a vehicle is also included. This page is a cracking poster featuring a whole bunch of classic Pokemon from the original generation. You've got the iconic "Pokemon Gotta Catch 'Em All" logo splashed down the side, big and bold, just like we remember it, Look at that lineup. Pikachu's there, of course, bouncing about as usual. You've got the big hitters like Charizard breathing fire, Blastoise looking ready to rumble, and Venusaur chilling out. Then there's a whole crew of others. Psyduck looking clueless, Meowth with that smug grin, Raticate, Geodude, coughing floating about, Zubat flying past, Dugtrio popping up, Cubone with his little skull mask, Charmander doing his thing, Ekans slithering, and Squirtle looking cute. It's a proper montage of Generation 1 goodness, perfect for sticking on your wall back in the day. Just a straightforward poster, nothing fancy, but gets the job done if you wanted some Pokemon artwork. You can even see the Pro Poster label in the corner, telling you exactly what you're getting. Good stuff. The next page gets down to brass tacks, diving into Donkey Kong 64. Remember the absolute nightmare of collecting all those golden bananas? Well, this is your handy guide to level 5, Fungi Forest. It breaks down exactly what you need to do with each character, Donkey, Diddy, Tiny, Lanky and Chunky, to snag those shiny collectibles. Look, there's the Fungi Forest treehouse right there. Bordoki. It gives you a blow-by-blow for each Kong, explaining how to use their specific abilities, like Lanky's Orange Stand or Diddy's Jetpack, to get through the level, find hidden bananas, and beat minigames or enemies standing in your way. You can see the little portraits of the Kongs next to their sections, looking ready for action. There's even a quick guide on how to take down the Dragonfly MK2 boss, which was always a bit of a fiddly one. It's essentially a cheat sheet to help you stop tearing your hair out trying to find every single last banana in this massive game. You can even see the N64 Pro Cheat Zone logo down the bottom, letting you know exactly what kind of help you're getting here. Oh, and there's South Park Rally text faintly in the background, which is a bit random, isn't it? But yeah, proper DK64 guide stuff. This page continues the essential Donkey Kong 64 cheat zone, picking up where we left off with the late game levels. First up is level 6, Crystal Caves. Still the same deal, isn't it? You've got your breakdown for each Kong, Donkey, Diddy, Tiny, Lanky and Chunky, detailing exactly how to use their unique skills, like Tiny's ponytail twirl or Diddy's jetpack, to navigate the icy tunnels and collect their golden bananas. See the screenshot of the level? Looks suitably cav-like. Then we move on to level 7, the rather spooky creepy castle. Again, comprehensive guides for all the Kongs, explaining how to tackle the ghosts, shoot switches, use abilities like Lanky's Baboon Balloon or Chunky's Hunky Chunky, classic, and complete various minigames and challenges dotted throughout the castle and its crypts to bag all those required bananas. Finally, it rounds off with helpful tips on taking down a couple of bosses, the Metallic Menace Army Dillo MK2, and the main man himself, Kutout K. Rool. Tells you how to dodge their attacks and what to hit them with. Absolutely crucial stuff if you didn't fancy spending hours figuring it all out yourself back in the day. Proper job. This page carries on with the essential Donkey Kong 64 cheat zone, digging into more of the later game's secrets and challenges. First up, we tackle Donkey Kong Island itself. Turns out, the main hub isn't just for mucking about, there are a whole bunch of golden bananas hidden right there. The guide breaks down exactly how each Kong, like Donkey, Diddy, Tiny and Lanky, can sniff out their specific collectibles using their unique moves. Classic Simian Spring or Jetpack action required, naturally. Then we hit the infamous Hideout Helm, level 8. This one's a bit different. No golden bananas here, just a frantic timed race to disable Key K. Rool's Big Machine. The walkthrough explains which Kongs you need when, using Tiny's Monkey Port to get around, and Chunky's Gorilla Gon for a bit of stealthy work to get things done. Below that, it details the final sequence within Hideout Helm, which is basically a multi-part boss battle against the machine itself, involving a series of challenges using different Kongs and their skills. Plenty of musical pads and minigames to get through before you can finally collect those medals and shut the whole thing down. Honestly, who had time to figure all that out without a guide like this back then? Proper lifesaver. The next page carries on the essential Donkey Kong 64 cheat zone, getting stuck into the main event, the big boss battle against King K. Rool. It walks you through each round of the fight, explaining how to swap between the different Kongs like Chunky, Diddy, Tiny and Lanky, and use their specific abilities, from Tiny's shrinking power to Diddy's jetpack, to take down the Croc. It sounds like a right old scrap that'll test your skills with every Kong. Then, we move on to a review of NBA Jam 2000. Mark takes a look at the latest court action, complete with screenshots showing off the Toon 2 gameplay and flashy moves. It seems like the reviewer felt it was a bit too similar to the previous year's game, lacking that fresh spark. While you can still pull off big dunks and even create some daft players in the editor, The overall score of 60% suggests it wasn't exactly setting the world on fire. Other reviewers chimed in too, echoing the feeling that this sequel didn't build enough on the original. Shame, NBA Jam should always be on fire. Mark reviewed 2 racing games. Monster Truck Madness received a poor 43% score, criticized for its garish graphics, broken sound, and unfinished gameplay, particularly lacking challenge modes. Supercross 2000, however, earned a 70%, praised for its realistic bikes, smooth animation, and action-packed visuals, despite some mixed opinions about its visual appeal and perceived lack of fun. This page dives headfirst into the 3D return of everyone's favorite annelid, Earthworm Jim. After what felt like an age, he's finally wiggled onto the N64 in a lush 3D platformer. The review highlights Jim looking rounder than ever in his souped UP cybersuit, ready to battle foes like King Gherkin and Psychro in his own deranged mind, which is apparently where most of the game takes place. The levels sound bonkers, with examples like navigating giant ears or finding fridges floating in space. Typical Jim absurdity, really. The reviewer praises the zany humor and familiar characters, noting that fans of the original SNES game should be pleased with the conversion to 3D. Jim still has all his classic moves, like whipping his head and using it to glide. However, it's not all sunshine and worms. The main complaint is the delay the game suffered, and, more importantly, an awkward camera system that apparently causes a fair bit of confusion. Despite that niggle, it scores a solid 85%, suggesting the madness and charm largely win out. It looks good, the sound is spot on, and the gameplay and longevity score well too. Mark reckons it's still worth getting, even with a sore thumb from walking. The breakdown gives graphics 8/10, sound 9/10, gameplay 9/10, and lastability 8/10. Other views from Naries and Russ chime in positively, calling it a pile of fun and a great-looking game. Reader reviews of recent 64 games are mixed. Donkey Kong 64 is overwhelmingly praised, with scores exceeding the magazine's 95%. Shadow Man 64 receives generally positive feedback, despite some criticism. Conversely, Mortal Kombat Mythologies and Superman are slammed by readers, with scores significantly lower than the magazine's reviews. Rogue Squadron, however, largely mirrors the magazine's high score of 92%, with readers enjoying the Star Wars dogfights. A reader review form and email address are provided for further contributions. Quenks. This website provides cheats for various Nintendo 64 games. It features codes for Destruction Derby, Turbo Starts, Vehicle Unlocks, Roadster's Trophy, Money, Unlocks, Voice Changes, Xena, Warrior Princess, Costume, Invisibility, Invulnerability, Paperboy 64, Invincibility, Infinite Papers, and Ready to Rumble Boxing, Class/Fighter Unlocks, Training Tips, and Rumble Flurry. A controller button guide is also included. The site offers extensive cheat codes and helpful tips, essentially a treasure trove for players struggling with these games. A premium phone line is available for further assistance. Cheshi. The next page kicks off with a cracking offer from Wilrons. Dreaming of a Dreamcast? Well, they've got bundles for you, mate. You can grab a bronze bundle with 1 game for £255, step up to the silver for 3 games at £325, or go for gold with 5 games at £385. Games like the legendary Soul Calibur, the slightly dodgy South Park, Chef's Love Shack, Football Fun with Wafer Striker, and the fast-paced Sonic Adventure are shown, though they're selling extra games for a tidy £34.99 a pop. They've got a phone number, website, and postal address there too if you fancy getting in touch. Over on the right we've got the N64 Pro back issues section. Missed an issue? No worries, they've got loads here, £4 each. They list them out by issue number, telling you what's on the cover and what juicy stuff is hidden inside. Walkthroughs, cheat guides, previews, all that good stuff. There's an order form at the bottom. Pretty standard stuff, asking for your details and how you want to pay. You Reckon is a letters page featuring reader feedback on 64 games like Jet Force Gemini, Donkey Kong 64, and Resident Evil. Readers discuss the abundance of quality games, their love for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and the Pokemon craze. A reader struggles to keep up with releases, while another discusses their Buffy fanzine and other games. The magazine also reflects on staff cuts and Game Boy content, and includes a humorous response to a reader's Pokemon obsession. The page is filled with gaming discussion and light-heartedness, referencing familiar characters like Jill Valentine and Donkey Kong. This page is all about the swap shop and shoutout section, the place where you could finally offload that rubbish game Gran got you for Christmas, or find that elusive gem you've been hunting down. Narration kicks things off, promising a swimming pool of new games. Optimistic perhaps, but you gotta love the enthusiasm. Featured prominently is Mario, looking as cheerful as ever, alongside a character from Jet Force Gemini, because apparently that was one of the most wanted games back then, sitting pretty with Star Wars Racer and Diddy Kong Racing. On the flip side, Raymond looks utterly fed up with the games on the not wanted list, which includes Zelda, Link's been around too long apparently, and Banjo-Kazooie. Can you believe people were getting rid of Banjo? Clearly mad. The rest is a mix of reader adverts, selling or swapping everything from GoldenEye to FIFA 99, and the shout-out messages themselves. Plenty of banter, people slagging off football teams or just saying hello. It's the pure, unadulterated voice of the N64 faithful. There's also a whole section about a Game Boy Color magazine, but honestly, who cares about that when you've got the N64? The High Scores page of 64 magazine showcases top N64 gamer achievements. Readers submitted times and scores for games like Star Wars Racer, Diddy Kong Racing, GoldenEye 007, and Mario Kart 64. Barry Drew won a THQ game for his impressive GoldenEye and Mario Kart 64 skills. The magazine encourages more entries and challenges readers to compete against the N64 Pro team. A new issue features a Donkey Kong 64 solution book and reviews of Resident Evil 2 and ISS Millennium. This page is all about joining the Pro Crew. It's N64 Pro's swanky membership club, and they've got this brilliant cartoon Elvis bloke giving it the big sell. He reckons if you want to be cool, you gotta join. Well, he's not wrong, is he? For a mere 28 quid in the UK, you get 13 issues of the mag, saving you a decent chunk of change per issue, plus loads of extras. They're throwing in exclusive insider info on N64 games, handy for getting those high scores like the chaps on the last page. Top secret stuff just for members, a funky fanzine every month, a flashy membership card, mystery free gifts, who doesn't love a mystery gift, and extra cheats, strictly members only mind. Earned in the cherry on top, a free, highly limited edition Pro Crew t-shirt. Just look at that lovely lady rocking hers. You can join by phone, fax, email or post. They even give you a free post address, bless 'em. Seems like a pretty sweet deal to get stuck into the N64 scene proper back in the day. Look at all those mags you'd get your mitts on too, covering everything from Lego racers to worms. Game Boy Nation, a new section, features news, reviews and tips for Game Boy and Game Boy Color games. What's the Score uses visual ratings to quickly gauge reviews. Pokemon News addresses supply issues, highlighting high demand and extra Christmas shipments. Previews include International Karate, March release, a realistic fighter, and Pokemon Yellow summer release, similar to Red/Blue but with TV show connections. A review of Dragon Warrior Monsters praises its monster-catching gameplay, unique breeding system, and monster-following feature, comparing it favorably to Zelda, and calling it fantastic. A release schedule for 2000 Game Boy Color games is also provided. This Game Boy Color issue features news on Metal Gear Ghost Babel, Donkey Kong Color, and Disney games. Reviews highlight Grand Theft Auto's poor performance, Missile Command's average port, and Marble Madness's brilliance. Billy Bob's Hunting and Fishing receives a negative review, while Mickey's Racing Adventure and Disney's Tarzan are praised for their respective strengths. Game Boy cheats are also included. Finally, a top 10 Game Boy games list, unsurprisingly topped by Pokemon Red/Blue, is presented. This page is absolutely rammed with places to buy games and consoles like the shiny new Dreamcast, plus enough Pokemon tat to fill a stadium, all ready for you to ring up or order online. This page is the N64 Pro Buyer's Guide, presented as the rather delightful Nintendo Park. It's split into the shooting and racing zones, showing off various games available at the time. On the left, you've got the shooting section, featuring some absolute classics like the untouchable GoldenEye 007 still holding strong at 96%, and the Turok game scoring well too. There are a few lesser lights in there as well, mind. Over on the right, it's all about racing with the legendary Mario Kart 64 leading the charge at 91%, alongside the excellent Beetle Adventure Racing. You can see Diddy Kong Racing and some others, plus a couple that perhaps weren't quite so memorable, bless 'em. There's even a handy look at steering wheel options if you fancy getting serious on the track. And look, Pikachu's turned up to declare the park Poketastic, a solid guide for picking your next N64 purchase. This page continues our journey through the buyer's guide, venturing into other exciting genres. We've got the fighting section first, packed with everything from Road Rash and the brand new Super Smash Bros. To a plethora of Mortal Kombat titles and various other beat-em-ups. Some score rather low, which is a bit of a shame, but there's plenty of choice if you fancy a scrap. Moving on, the Puzzle Zone offers some serious brain teasers. Classics like the Buster Move series are here, alongside the new Tetris and some more unusual fare like Silicon Valley, which looks absolutely bonkers and scores incredibly well. Cool. Then we hit the platform section, which is arguably where the N64 truly shines. You'll find absolute masterpieces like Rayman 2, Banjo-Kazooie, and the legendary Super Mario 64, all scoring in the high 90s. There are plenty of other platformers too, offering a mix of adventures and styles. The guide also covers crucial accessories. There's a look at the 4 meg packs to boost your console's power, the action replay for a bit of cheeky fun, and even the Game Boy Color if you need gaming on the go. Down below, they review various rumble packs to add vibration feedback and compare a range of joypads, from the essential official pad to third-party options. And check out the colorful characters scattered around. Diddy Kong, Pikachu, Gex, and even Cartman have popped up. It's quite the spread. This page keeps the buyer's guide going, kicking off with the sports section. Looks like we've got everything from Ken Griffey Jr.'s baseball, to Madden 2000, NBA, NHL, FIFA, and even Mario Golf and Wale Golf. Some classics here, some real duds too, if the scores are anything to go by. FIFA 64 only gets a 34%. Ouch! But ISS 64 and 98 are rightly praised for their footy action. Oh, and check out the big spread for Donkey Kong 64. Looks like everyone's hyped for the Big Apes platforming adventure, scoring a whopping 94%. Then we move into adventure, with titles like Superman, gets a brutal 30%, haha. Zelda 64, a near-perfect 98% naturally. Pilot Wings, and Resident Evil 2 making an appearance. There's also a section for other stuff, covering everything else from Rampage Universal Tour, a low 37%, fair enough, to Mario Party and Command & Conquer. Plus, there's a little review of various memory packs, essential kit if you don't want to lose your progress. And look who it is at the bottom right, Stan and Chef from South Park. Chef's asking about his blouse, which is just brilliant. What a mixed bag of games, eh? Plenty to choose from, good and bad. This page kicks off with a bang, featuring a huge splash for Toy Story 2 coming to the N64. What a buzz! Indeed, looks like Buzz Lightyear and Rex are ready for action, and you get a few peeks at the game itself in those little screenshots. Always good to see beloved characters making the jump to consoles, though let's hope it lives up to the movie magic, eh? There's a sizable section here dedicated to staff credits, and of course, a massive part of the page focuses on ordering games and getting deals through Special Reserve, complete with free gifts and various financing options, plus lists of games, peripherals, and even features on the Game Boy Color, Neo Geo Pocket Color, and Dreamcast for those who stray. Plenty of opportunities to part with your cash then. Looking ahead to the next issue, we're promised a look at Castlevania, Legacy of Darkness, Top Gear Rally 2, Nuclear Strike, and ISS Millennium. A nice mix of genres there, should be something for everyone. And if you're stuck on Resident Evil 2, the Cheat Zone promises a solution about time. Wouldn't want those zombies getting the better of you.